Larkin. Today, like I've been talking to quite a few of you about, today we're doing St. George 101. I've had a lot of people talk to me about kind of the, okay, what is this space, where are we at? And knowing even more. So I wanted to have Jeremy come in and really dive into, especially I know you're going into a lot of the history today, which is kind of fun. So
We're gonna edutain.
Yes, that'd be great.
Sound with that?
There you go.
Okay, take it off.
Hey, what did you guys learn from that awesome presentation about cleaning your house? Do not pull your fridge or range out because you'll be grossed out. It's bad. And I know it's bad. Lou, remember when Lou's with the Larkin Group and one of my great agents at selling homes that does a lot of field work for us. And we moved some fridges around. We actually took a fridge from my house on Hope Street, which is above top of Main Street, literally top of Main Street. We took a fridge from that house and took it down to a house I sold on 200 West, the staging, and then took it back. So whatever it takes, right? So guys, good morning. And I don't see a lot of you very often, and that's not because I don't like you, most of you, but I like everybody here. Joe and I go way back, way back. And this guy has been counseling me and helping me for the last literally 15 years in my business. And he has a lot of value. And as much as we sold a lot of homes, like we're at 2,000 sales at the Larkin Group, I still need help. And I still made a broker call yesterday, which was like, hey, I know the answer, but like, am I missing something here? And sometimes you're gonna make that call. So we have the building over on Tabernacle. We're on Tabernacle, the old Cameo Florist building. And so we office over there. We kind of almost run as an independent brokerage. And that's why I don't see a lot of you. And I probably could be better to come over and participate. So St. George 101, local knowledge to elevate your client experience. Guys, I want to talk to you today. I'll be your guide and we'll have one fun page here. My name's Jeremy Larkin. I own the Larkin Group. I was born and raised around these parts. I was biggest comedian class of Dixie High 1993. It's true. By the way, I don't even know how that vote came out, but that's what happened. I think I have a 3.125 GPA. Like some of you, that could have been better than you got. I don't know, but you know how people brag about their grades? Mine weren't great. I was not a great student. I was mainly in trouble for talking all the time.
That's shocking.
Does that shock you? Dixie College, which was Utah Tech. Do you know how you say Dixie College if you're a true local? Let's do a test. Dixie College. So the days of the week aren't Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Okay, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Dixie College, all right? That's how you say it if you're real local. I sold a few thousand homes, biked about 5 times that many desert miles, skied 34 seasons at Bryan Head. This is 35 for me this year. Kind of bizarre, right? And I've raised 4 kids and I've never been arrested that I remember. So I want to point something out. So you see some photos here. This is from one of those stupid photo booths. Remember at the KW Awards in Vegas, Brampton? Where I did the realtor pose, where you get a photo with your phone near your ear. These are my 4 kids. That is me in the middle of an 11-hour bike race in the summer where I wanted to die. And literally, it looks like I'm smoking weed. I wanted to be smoking weed at that point. I was 7 hours in. So this guy right here is my grandpa Herman, who's been to Capoletti's restaurant in St. George. So you're actually looking at it right here, which is Larkin Plumbing and Heating, air conditioning, refrigeration, radios, and electrical appliances. Hardware, paint, sporting goods. So that was 1938. And what you see at the bottom, it's an actual business card, Larkin Plumbing and Heating Company from 1938. So my grandfather, you'll see there's a small, tiny little picture of a plane. Next to that photo is a tiny little kid. It's my dad. And when my dad was 7 years old, my grandfather Herman, who was known as Herman the Singing Plumber, and he got that name because he sang all the time. And he was killed in the plane crash. And this is wild. I wish I had the news clipping. He and his brother in 1948 had a private plane in St. George, Utah. I'm going to talk about the first airstrip momentarily. So you guys can really have some information to dazzle your clients, right? And there's questions going to be asked. Well, what good are you if they can just get it on Zillow? Well, you're worth a lot of good. And we're going to talk about some things you need to understand, right? So 7 years old. His father and his uncle got in a plane and they were flying to northern Utah for bank board meetings. Guys, there were like 2,500 people in St. George at the time. And they crashed in central Utah in a snowstorm. And so my dad doesn't remember, of course, really his father, he has very few memories of him. But Larkin Plumbing and Heating is still in business in Las Vegas, and there's a kind of a legacy here for us. And you may be thinking, well, what do I do? I'm not from St. George. That's okay. You can obtain the information you need to elevate the client experience by being really knowledgeable. See, the thing is, guys, they can already go online and get the data. Every title company, I got a title thing from Paul Schreiber, First American Title this morning. Here's your weekly report. X number of sales, X number of closings. How does that educate a client? Does that change a client's life? Does that impact their life? No. Does that build confidence? Maybe, but they know that that information exists everywhere. So this is my background, but before I go forward, I'm gonna ask for your help. So we are gonna feed 350 families, 370 next week, and we've done this for 14 years. And we do something called the Basket Brigade, and I'm gonna ask for your help today while I'm here. This should allow you to PayPal and Venmo, both. Try this one first. Tony Robbins started this, it's called the Basket Brigade. And when Tony Robbins was small, did you guys know that Tony was poor as dirt when he was a kid? And there's an incredible story online where Tony, when he was really young, his dad was an angry, alcoholic, belligerent asshole, basically. And one day somebody showed up with a basket of food. And his dad opened the door and was like, "What do you want?" And he said, "We have this basket of food." And he said, "We don't take charity." And he tried to slam the door. And and the guy put his foot in the door because he saw Tony standing there. And he said, "Listen, you're gonna hurt your kids because of your pride." And when Tony became richer than God, which he did, he started this Basket Brigade, and we took it over here. We do it as the Larkin Group. We have no administrative costs. And this Saturday, we will deliver Thanksgiving to 370 homes with a group of volunteers. And they prepare the Thanksgiving in their home. It's not a soup kitchen. We're shy 28 families right now on funding. And we all have our own money in it, my whole team. I've got thousands in it. My team absorbs all the administrative costs. So if you go to PayPal, it goes to PayPal and Venmo. If it doesn't work, this is my Venmo, and you'd just have to trust giving it to me. I brought in about $2,000 in my personal Venmo, and I wrote a check for all that yesterday. But if this is something that calls to you, guys, 370 families nominated in St. George to get Thanksgiving. You didn't even think that was even a thing, right? So I'm gonna ask for your help, and this is what I wanna do. So we'll draw from whoever donates today online, because we'll know. And when one winner gets lunch with me, that's probably not that cool. But you get to pick the venue, and I'll workshop with you on anything you want to in your business.
How much does it cost for a family?
$65, Jake, thank you. $65 to feed a family. If you can only give $10, give us $10. But I mean, I've written checks, our team's written checks, but we're short. $65. So we would love your help, and it's kind of fun to be involved in something like this. So literally, guys, I'll help you with lead conversion. I'll help you with lead generation. I'll talk to you about lead follow-up. I'll talk to you about building a CRM. I can talk to you about marketing to your database. I can talk to you about building your own little team. I promise you there's nothing in real estate that I cannot coach you on. And that's not because I'm a really special guy. I just have a lot of experience, and I've paid about probably $250,000 in coaching over the last 19 years. So Joe said 23, that was kind of, but you're in 23 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah, okay. Cool, did everybody get it? Thank you, guys, thank you. Okay, so let's shoot through this. Historical significance, why does it matter? Do you see this cute home? Cute downtown historic home, bring your buyers. Here's a more compelling story. This is the CV home, and in 1939, they built that home for $300 and traded the rest for food. Which is more significant, the first or the second? It's actually true. This is a listing of mine at 267 South 300 West, 2 blocks away. And if you want to hold an open house, it's a killer place to do so because it attracts a lot of people. It's a magnet. It's a nightly rental, and she's asking a lot of money for it, which is holding her back $480,000. 3 beds, 1 bathroom. We need to be able to tell stories about our community. And why does it matter? Well, what distinguishes you from Zillow? Right? Listen, who in here literally can tell me? I have information, data on the market that Zillow could never know. I mean, maybe in some weird, fangled way, like, oh, well, this has some reports. It's all online, guys. It's all public data. How the hell did you get my phone number when you're lead generating? You're like, well, sir, right, Blake, it's public record, dude. And I don't know if you knew this, but there are millions of people selling your information right now, including some in Nigeria. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you don't say that. You have to say, well, it's public records and you're kind. What distinguishes you from Zillow? Just ask this in your head right now. What can you share that the web cannot? Knowledge brings confidence in you, right? In you. It brings your confidence in you, and it brings confidence in your client's ability to trust you. And one of the things that I do when I bring a buyer to town is instead of racing out and showing them homes, I hold a consultation right at my office. And then what I like to do if they're relocation buyers, I put them in the car and we take a fun little. And I come right across Tabernacle and I go right up Main and say, let me tell you about St. George. Let me tell you some things that you'd never possibly know. And I pull up a map and I literally pull a map up on our big old screen at Larkin Group headquarters. And I would say, okay, we're here. I drop a pin, right? This is the red hill. This is the black hill where the D is, the red hill. This is Webb Hill, the big dome. This is the East Ridge. And I really start to explain to them what's going on here. What makes St. George unique, you guys, is that we have pinch points. The pinch points are River Road, the I-15 entrance into town down here, Sunset and Bluff, and then coming into town. It's all pinch points. So we don't have a flat city. It also makes it really easy to keep track of north, south, east, and west. Who's traveled like to Houston? You're like, where the hell is north? Right? Like, oh my gosh. Okay. So Jay Golden Kimball famously said, if I had a house in hell and a house in St. George, I ran out the one in St. George. So Jaden Golden Kimball, he was one of the early LDS settlers, Mormon pioneers. This matters. It's very fascinating when they reopened the St. George LDS temple a year ago. I took my entire team down. Almost no one on our team was either members of the church or active in the LDS church. And they were kind of like, what does this matter? I said, the entire city is here because of them. Correct, Marlene, when we went? You need to understand that. Oh, those damn Mormons, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. What matters is you need to understand what the legacy of the town is and why it matters. And they taught us some really interesting lessons. You guys want a pop quiz? There's no prize. Okay, here goes pop quiz. How it all started, all right? St. George was established in what year? Let's test you guys.
A long time.
1861.
Dude, what's your name?
Rollin.
Rollin,
Yeah.
killer dude, way to go. I should have brought some more prizes, Yeah, it was part of the, 1861 was when it was actually founded.
Yeah.
It was part of the LDS blank mission, Cotton Mission, Joe Langston. They, who sent 390 families down here? Brigham Young. That's his house right there, right? And this is actually a photo that I own. A lot of these photos I actually own because I paid a photographer years ago. I sent this photographer out and I said, get these like 15 or 20 photos and come back when you have them. And there was no timeline on, like 2 months later, she said I got them and they were killer. I have one of the frost top, Larson's frost top before it became yeah, you've seen it. And it says, pup and fries. Pup or grilled cheese and fries, $2.99. Best damn deal. And then they became a stop, right? The early settlers overcame challenges of what in the desert and developing what kind of systems?
Water.
Okay, so water, irrigation systems and farming in the desert. You can't even imagine what this was like. Who's pissed when they're like, my air conditioning is not that cold, I need Freon, in your car? We just don't realize what it was like for these people. But the real first settlers were who?
The Native Americans.
Native Americans. The Anasazi came here as early as they say 200 AD. Wild. They say they lived here between 200 and 1300 AD. Jacob Hamlin was sent down here just ahead in 1854, and he had to learn. Do you know what he had to learn? Which languages? Ute and Paiute. Imagine learning Ute and Paiute, and he came down here. And guys, this isn't like politically incorrect. Oh, you can't say Indian. These were Native Americans with bows and arrows. Like, do you guys comprehend what was going on here? And he's like in a wagon coming to St. George. Okay, got it, boss. I'll do it. right? Like, holy crap, why'd you send me? The name St. George came from who?
George Albert Smith.
George Albert Smith, and if you come to our building, if you haven't been to our building, I want you to come to our building. We had a whole sales meeting there sometime, just so people can come in. It's a really cool place on Tabernacle. And on our bathroom doors, on the women's restroom, there's Juanita Brooks, and on the men's restroom, it's George Albert Smith. And when you get up close, it's really close, and you're like, dude, you're weirding me out. But he was known as the what kind of saint? The potato saint. And here's what happened. Early pioneers were getting sick with scurvy. And then what they would do is the adults would eat the peelings, the peels of the potatoes, and they'd give the kids the potatoes, and the kids were getting sick and the adults weren't. And George A. Smith was like, what if we tried the opposite? So they started giving the kids the peelings and the peels, and they stopped getting sick. And they found out that all the nutrients in the potato were actually in the part that most of us don't even eat. So he's known as the potato saint. Did you learn something just now? Okay. So let's keep going, all right? So the cotton mission failed. This image right here is the cotton mill in Star Nursery in Washington City. These guys are raising corn. This is so crazy when you look at this. It failed. So what do we learn in real estate? Well, there's one I didn't put on here. I was driving over and I was like, oh, that's a good one. I can't wait to share. We'll see if anyone can guess what it is. But number one is that acceptance is crucial. You know, they said, go down there and have fun in the desert, and we don't know anything about it, and there are Native Americans that might kill you, and it's hot and it's dry, and it's also miserable, and it's also hot and dry. Okay?
And you're Swiss.
Yeah, and you're Swiss. The Swiss Santa Clara people like are like, okay,
You live in beautiful.
Yeah. Going it alone is dangerous. You know, I strongly encourage you to stay really close to this brokerage or find a team to be involved in. It's a really, really tough role in real estate, right? The last year has been pretty extraordinarily hard. And I'm so used to hard years because we've had so many that I downplayed it until I woke up one day and I was like, I called Joe like 2 weeks ago, dude, has it been hard? He's like, yeah, it's been hard. So it doesn't mean we haven't sold homes. I mean, we closed our 119th transaction at Larkin Group yesterday. So we sold a few. The last year we did 161, and the year before we did 194, and the year, or excuse me, 203, and the year before that, 236. It's a lot of deals, right? Going it alone is dangerous. Right? Do you think that would have been cool if they're like, just you and your wife, Jacob Hamlin, you just stay down there forever by yourselves, right? Brought people in. The next one, the desert in the real estate market can be harsh. Really, really harsh. I had one of my agents, Ronnie. Some of you guys know him, Ronnie Walker. Amazing kid. He is a kid. He was a star running back for Utah Tech University last year. Super cool kid, Ronnie Walker Jr. Well, he's figuring out how hard real estate is, and he's a soldier. This kid understands training. Gets up every day. You don't even have to ask him to call. He's just like in one of our small conference rooms on the phone every day. And yesterday he's kind of going, help, Mayday, white flag, this isn't working. It can be really, really hard. And so we're going to work with him to figure out, well, what are you saying that isn't working? Structure and resources matter. I promise you, I'll try not to toot our horn. There is no brokerage in the world that has more resources than KW. So if you in this room or someone on Zoom is like, well, maybe I'll just change brokerages. Do you know, have you heard this quote? Ryan Serhant teaches this. Who knows who Ryan Serhant is? He's in New York, selling Manhattan, cool dude. He heard this from his brother. He said, Ryan, never quit on your worst day. Never quit on your worst day. We usually quit on our worst day. People always leave my team, and Taylor Frampton and Joe Langston, they always leave brokerages when they're kicking ass or actually failing and not doing the job. The former, or the first or second.
You would have felt.
Yeah. When they're not doing their job, they leave. So we go out, oh, maybe I just need to go to a new brokerage. Maybe I need a new team. Maybe I need a new, maybe you do. But what I'm saying is this place has all the resources you need, all of them. If you're not doing the job, here's the crazy part. You already know it. You already know you're not doing it. And the more pissed you are at the person who asks you about that in real estate, that's your cue. You're like, wow, I'm really angry because I've been confronted at some level to do my job, right? So real estate is a talk to people game. It's a hard game. But guys, infrastructure and resources matter. It's why people get involved in our team. Is they're like, well, I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel. I don't even want to have to reinvent the wheel. So much so that I joined my team to a team. A lot of people don't understand that. A year and a half ago, I took my team of 18 years and partnered with a company called Place. I actually am on a split like my agents are on my sales business with a team. Because they have all these infrastructure and resources that I didn't have. And I got to stop recreating the wheel. Our dreams in business and life are realized well after the thrill of the goal is set. What's gonna happen around January 3rd in every gym in the United States of America?
Be busy.
What's gonna happen around January 30th in every gym in America?
It's gonna be busy.
You're gonna get your machine back. You know what I mean, right? Like sick, trying to get back on the machine, because everybody went home. Because the thrill of, well, it's the 19th of November. I'll start my diet, I'll start my fitness program, I'll start lead generating after Thanksgiving. I'll start it after Christmas. I'll start it after New Year. I'll start it after. And what I was gonna say here that I didn't add in, that you don't know what your legacy is. And these people came, guys, they came and died. What was the average life expectancy? I don't know back then, like 50, 45. They didn't live very long, a lot of them. There's some old dudes, Brigham Young was an old dude with a big beard. But they planted seeds literally and figuratively for something that we see today. I mean, guys, PGA Tour, I was at the tournament. Like PGA Tour came to town, you know, I mean, they had no idea what was gonna happen. Last one is stay committed to your long-term vision. Maybe even the word is rigid. Stay rigid to your long-term vision while flexible with how you get there. I'm gonna ask you a question. We're just gonna have, you're not gonna answer out loud, just what do you think about this? What would you do if money were not an issue and you literally did not have to work? I just want you to sit for about 20 seconds and think about it. What would you do if money were not an issue and you did not have to? Okay, but will anybody share? Like a couple of shares. What's your name, dude?
Elgin.
Elgin, hey man.
Yeah. Probably just, I don't know, like a couple of people in need and go around like. Think if anyone needs everything.
Yeah, good man.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, thank you, Elgin. Who else? Who else? What would you do if you had all the money in the world and you didn't have to work? Yeah, good, Jake.
I'd help people become their best selves.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about this? I bet if I queued the whole room up, 87.2% of the, which is the failure rate in real estate also. That was not intentional. 2% of the people in here would say something similar. And the funny thing was I told my team the day we did this, by the way, this exercise is called asking courageous questions. And it causes you to think bigger. And I said, I'd still come in here and help, but I would never feel this rush of like, you know, when you're busy, Joe is the broker, and someone creeps in and they're like, hey, I have a question. And you're like, I've been an hour. And this, you know, that feeling, and you're trying to be social. You want them to go away. He's rarely done that, but he might have felt it.
Yeah.
If you'd had all the money in the world and you didn't have to work, you could do that. Guys, I have 3 appointments with sellers today. Now, this is a rare day. This is not a totally normal day for me. 2 of the appointments are with adult children and their parents to sell both homes instead of my wife. It's a busy day. So what I'm getting at is stay rigid to the vision, whether you want to help people or you want to like move to Tahiti or whatever you want to do, but stay flexible with how you get there. Okay. Well, here are the key milestones, and I'm going to rattle them off. And I wish I would have done that with a lot more space. I could have solved that in Canva. In 1876, St. George Tabernacle was completed. By the way, this looks like one of those photos. You're like, that's an AI dog. He's missing a leg. That's actually Max the tripod. He's definitely missing a leg. Okay, this photo was taken like 3 days ago on our hike up the hill. So we hike up on the Owens Loop all the time, or Tempe Trail this morning. So he's pretty rad. All right. First Mormon LDS temple in the world was actually completed in St. George. First one was started in Salt Lake City. In 1911, the Dixie Academy was constructed. That's the Children's Museum, just like down the street. 1930s, the first airport runway is created. And my grandfather was killed. Yeah, right.
Was that up on top of the hill?
Yeah, first airstrip was out here. And then they did another one out where the new airport is later. But this was always kind of the commercial. Two airstrips, Jake. 1950s. You guys see what that says? Air conditioning. and everything changed.
Was that the Larkin heating and air
I
company?
don't know, probably singing plumber. But everything changed. Can you imagine how that changed everything? Like air conditioning. You're like, oh crap, this is amazing, you know? My dad always has this joke. He says, because they also owned Larkin Plumbing and Heating, and then they sold it to my cousin who runs it now as L&L Mechanical. My dad says the only reason you should be, the only people who should be cold or hot are either broke or stupid. So there you go. You shouldn't be cold or hot unless you're broke or stupid, okay? So there you go. All right, 1965, Dixie Red Hills opens, the first golf course in St. George, the predecessor to Black Desert Resort. I learned to play golf there. You probably played there too as a kid, right? We all did. Jadon Blake, the first professional to ever come out of here, learned at Dixie Red Hills. 1972, SkyWest begins offering flights between St. George and SLC. Jerry Atkin and his family. That sounds like geriatric. It's not Jerry Atkin. When I said it, you know, there's offering flights between in 1972. I was born in 75. This was a long time ago, right? 1973, I-15 fully replaces Highway 91 linking Las Vegas. Highway 91 is the old road over the hill. And Highway 91 is actually, guess what else this is? St. George Boulevard. But people didn't understand that. That was part of Highway 91. You'd come into town, you'd come across the boulevard, and then you'd go out. And that changed a lot of things. So what happens when I-15 comes to town? Did it make it a little better for people to come hang out here? Yeah, because it was always beautiful. It was always this topography. In 1981, a modern airport terminal was built, and in 2011, the St. George Regional Airport opened, allowing access to real jets, right? Are we really that special? Yeah, actually we are. And I want you to hear this. This isn't just this, I made this list. This wasn't a ChatGPT list. The town is historically significant. It has proximity to national and state parks, like almost nowhere you've ever been. And by the way, we need a QR code. We need a way to share this with everybody. Okay, so I want you to, I'll send it to Taylor, he'll send it to everybody, okay? We have out of this world topography. It's really, really unique, guys, the way that everything got formed. Low crime, low traffic, and low hassle factor. That really matters. Low hassle factor. Growing arts and food scene, city amenities, small town feel. Right, city amenities, small town feel. Reputation as the warm alternate destination in the state of Utah. World-class healthcare. Right? St. George is unique because there's only one other town that's considered like, oh, well, you either go to Salt Lake Park City or you go to St. George. Everything in between is like a side story, right? Utah Tech University, Dixie Technical College, Tech Ridge, low property taxes, Career Tech, the brand new high school, 9 other high schools, growing private school sector. There are 12 private schools. We've been an Ironman World Championship venue, a PGA and LPGA Tour venue, World Senior Games venue, St. George Marathon, World Class biking, hiking, climbing. Okay, so let's talk about home values. Wish I would have bought some in 70. In 1968, Bloomington Country, or 70, around 68, there was Dixie Red Hills, and they started developing Bloomington Country Club. And they came to my dad and his buddies, and they're like, "Hey, we're selling building lots for $2,500." And you know what they said, right? That's crazy. Why would you spend $2,500 on a building? And that's a true story. And they didn't do that, and they're sad about that. At one point, my dad was a member of the club there, but in 1970, the median home value in Washington County, according to the internet, right, because it's tough to pull this together, was 23 grand. 1980, it had gone to 45, it doubled. 1990, it went up by a third, 68,700, 2000, 146,100, 2010, $200,000. I know for a fact in 2011, my average sales price, because I was selling so many foreclosures, was 139. I still cannot get over him not having a beard. It is so weird, dude. You look so young. Hey man, what's that?
Sorry.
We love you, brother. Love that guy. It's one of my favorite people. So, 2010, 200K. 200K, guys. And you know why we didn't buy more properties at the time? We're freaked out. Because there's been a cataclysmic meltdown in the market. We're like, oh, I don't know if it's safe. I was selling for Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, big foreclosure, the government sponsored entities is what they're called, GSEs. I was selling Hidden Valley townhomes, the 3-bed, 2.5 bath, 1,420 square foot ones for 85 Jesse sold one at peak for $396. Jesse Paul has the record sale in there. They're like, what, $320 now or something like that? Okay, 2020, we went to $350. 2023, we're at $509 and $130, but this is actually 2024. I had a typo there, but it's floating in there. This is median. Have home values grown? They've grown a lot, right? So where do we go from here? Well, I hate typos, and after I had shared this, it's too late to go back. Washington County population is projected to grow from plus or minus 200,000 today to 464,000 by 2060. It's a lot of people, and it's a lot of cars. 30,332 new units will be needed by 2050. So you're in a good business, but you know what? I already know 87% of you are going to quit. Probably not. There's actually a density of producing people in this room, so that's probably not true. But 87% of agents are going to quit. Quitting defined as they got out of the business, or they went to Home Depot, or whatever they did, or like, I don't know, found a career that's less of a headache. There's a lot of options, right? Water conservation and reliable water sources will be a major issue. AI and flying driverless car planes will replace all realtors by 2037. Okay, I just threw that in there. But God, when I got that bullet point out, everything was screwed up. Remember Back to the Future too? Remember like Marty McFly and the flying cars? But we're past all those dates. You know, we don't have them. Okay. All right, let's wrap up. Okay. So how can I stand out? It's actually a photo from one of the listings we sold. So there you go. Up on Donnery Drive. The Ridge. Yeah, that thing. Stay current on community trends and developments. McCray Hepler has so much good content with Eagle Gate Title. Just watch his videos. Just watch his video. Like he tells you everything, almost everything you need to know. Build relationships with local businesses. That could be like going and doing like man on the street, woman on the street videos. Your local, hey, I'm a whatever shop. Share your local experiences. Hey, I'm eating at this restaurant. I'm golfing at this resort, and whatever. Great lifestyle guides. The crazy part is you already know the ChatGPT can do that for you. So it can do a lot of things for you. ChatGPT and I have an intimate relationship, guys. It is like I am like priming the pump, learning how to cue that thing. Master the key major neighborhoods like Entrada, Sun River, Bloomington Hills, Little Valley, Green Spring, right? These are neighborhoods, but they're more like concentrations of neighborhoods, and understand what they're about, why people go there. Build a welcome to gift basket. Super. Fry's Fruit Stand. Speaking of being local, I went to Fry's Fruit Stand on Saturday. I was over in Santa Clara. I've been riding like just south of the Jacob Hamlin home. Stopped at Fry's Fruit Stand, got some chips and salsa. They're so good. Grabbed some pears, and they had these gift baskets that you can buy with all this cool local stuff, local bread, local whatever. Follow a standard intro area tour, which is what I talked to you guys about, which is put your clients in a car and drive them around and show them a good time. You can have all sorts of meetings. Take that the wrong way, okay? So these are ways that you stand out. Sound fair? Any other ideas? What else could you do? Maybe that's all. Got a comment? No? Okay, she's thinking. She's giving us like, I don't know. Go ahead, Elgin, what you got?
Try to find things like that they would like on the tour. So like you can have like a standard set areas of where you bring up questions of conversation, like without them knowing. And then they just tell you like interest or hobby and just
Yeah.
take them to those places. So you gotta know those places first.
Facebook stalking people is very wonderful, and you can find out. This guy referred us, the Solente project? So the Larkin group lost that in a competition to Red Rock, by the way. So it was us and Red Rock going after that business, and we thought we had it, that whole subdivision. And they had a nice relationship with them, and I was actually not surprised that they chose them. But I had a guy up in the Northwest that helped us develop our presentation, and I found out what he was about. And I sent him this a dozen Titleist Pro V1 golf balls in the mail. He could buy those; they're expensive, like $60 for a dozen. He sent me a text, dude. No one's this thoughtful. It was a dozen golf balls. So you could do that with your clients locally. What else?
But a lot of times is when you're going around, they wanna know the history about St. George or the area. It's like you said, you went hiking on Temple Court. A lot of people don't know, there's a trail there where they took the lava rock to put the foundation in the St. George Historical Temple. And they go,
Yes, dude.
what? Or when you're going up towards Little Valley and you see, I don't know what it's called, there's some mountains up there, whatever it is, you start mentioning certain things or which way's north. You know, you look at Pine Mountain, that's always north. And so at least now they get their bearings. So when they're driving around without you, they're gonna go, where are we? Cause like I said, like Houston or somewhere else, you don't know where they are. They know, yep, that's north, right? So it's those little things that I think drives them back to you because you're the knowledgeable person that they need to go to if they wanna find something about this area.
Amen. And I want to add one more. Yesterday, they had this little thing called Bike Talks. You didn't show up, dumbass. Anyway, I told Robert, it was hilarious. I tagged him in the post and said, I always regret, I always say I'll do these things and then I don't go. And he commented and said, I do the same thing. And then he didn't come. So probably about 30 of us went in 3 groups with some city council members and the, like the guy that was leading our group, what's his name? Lloyd Christmas. Oh wait, that's Lloyd somebody. What's that?
It's Lillooet.
Lillooet?
Lillooet.
Is it really? Stop it, dude. Okay, that's like Tokerville, the hurricane. So, and we rode around on our bikes all downtown and ended up back at FS Coffee and had treats provided by Chris Connors. And they told us all about what they're doing with infrastructure for bikes and walkability downtown. Go do that stuff. It was 10 a.m., it was 9:40. I was taking the tripod to doggy daycare to play for the day. And I had my handyman showing up at my house and my washing machine went out and my water heater went out and everything was going wrong. And I was like, I'm going. And I just pushed through and made it. And so do those kinds of things. Go participate. Otherwise you end up after going, ow, I should have done that. Okay, guys, when you help clients, final slide, fall in love with St. George, you're not just selling a home, you're delivering a lifestyle. I want you to remember that. You're delivering a lifestyle. They didn't move here because their greatest dream was to have a specific home in St. George. They moved here for a lifestyle.